Hello, my name is Stacy Hubbard, and I'm here to talk today about creating a trauma sensitive child care program. And it will be based on Barbara Sorrell's Reaching and Teaching Children Exposed to Trauma. Some of the learning objectives we'll be talking about today is define childhood trauma and toxic stress, explain how trauma affects the brain development and behavior, recognize trauma related behaviors in young children, and implement trauma sensitive classroom practices, build strong relationships with children and their families, support children's emotional regulation while maintaining their well being. So, what we'd like to talk about at this moment is what is trauma? Trauma is an event or series of events that overwhelms a child's ability to cope and leaves them feeling unsafe, powerless, and fearful. Trauma can result from a single event or repeated experiences. So, what trauma is, as an example for our children, is physical abuse, neglect, sexual abuse, emotional abuse, domestic violence, and abandonment. These things can cause children trauma, and it can occur over and over in their lives. And we want to make sure that we can help them work on those traumas. Toxic stress, Barbara Sorrell explains that when stress continues without supportive adults, children's bodies remain in survival mode. Instead of calming down after stressful events, their brains stay alert. So, a child's brain and body are designed to respond to danger, but they also need caring, responsive adults to help them return to a calm, regulated state. So that means that we need to help children, caregivers, teachers, parents. We need to be there for kids when they have experienced trauma in their lives. And we need to make sure that we are helping them come into a place where they're calm, feeling regulated in a state of mind that they can feel good. And that's what we want to do when children are faced with trauma. I want to look into trauma looks different in every child. And it really does. Trauma can take children through many different stages of feelings and emotions. So here is what I would like to talk about is children often communicate trauma through behaviors. And that's very true. Aggression is one of them. This is between the ages of 3 to 5 year olds. And aggression could be hitting, kicking, and biting. And a possible message that that child is giving is, I don't feel safe. And so when a child doesn't feel safe, they will react in this matter of hitting and kicking and acting out when they feel that they're not feeling safe. So we want to make sure that as caregivers, as parents, as guardians of children, that we can help them by stay calm and ensure everyone's safety. Acknowledge the child's feelings. For example, I can see you're really upset. We don't want to beat them down. We want to be direct. We want to talk to them about their feelings and emotions. I can see you're upset. How can I make you feel better? What can we do to help you make you understand that you'll be okay? Turn it off. And the ways that we can help our children as caregivers, our guardians, our parents, we can stay calm and ensure everyone's safety, acknowledge the child's feelings. For example, I can see you're feeling upset. And we want to make sure that we are talking to them about their feelings and their emotions and how we can help them when they're feeling this way. Set clear and consistent limits. For example, again, I won't let you hit. We have to let them know this is not acceptable behavior. I won't let you hit your friend. Instead of using the words no, stop, we need to make sure that we are being direct with them. I don't like it when you hurt my friend or when you hit them. So we want to make sure that we're being clear and setting the limit of consistency. Another one is withdrawal. This happens in the stages of toddlers. So, with withdrawal, they avoid peers a lot. They don't talk to others. They hide. And possible message that they're bringing with that is, I don't trust people. And so they will begin to withdraw from others and become um, and others and become pulled into themselves. So they don't want to be bothered by others. They don't want to play. They don't want to interact with others. So they just want to be by themselves, and that's okay. As we don't want to pressure them to do anything that they don't want to do. And here's some things that can help us as we're trying to help children better get better acquainted with one another is to greet the child warmly without pressuring them to interact. And we have to give them time and the patience to take their time to want to interact in circle time, want to interact in dance and movement. We don't want to make it that they have to do anything that they don't or they're not ready for. Another one is to be patient and allow the child to engage at their own pace. Again, that's the same thing. We don't want to push them to do anything, but allow them to take their time to feel like they can do it. I had a child that does kind of stands off when he dances. I'll make sure that I always include him by saying, "Hey, come on and join us as we dance around the tables." But he's okay if he wants to stay there and dance where he's at, and that's okay with me. But I always want to make sure that we always include them, but always make sure that they're going at their own pace. Um, Another good one is celebrate small steps towards engagement. Now, if you notice in the child is trying new things that he hasn't done before, maybe he's playing with a child where he usually plays alone, you want to make sure you encourage that and say, wow, I see you guys are playing good together. Keep it up. And so we want to encourage and celebrate the small things that child is doing to not withdraw himself and be alone. And so we want to make sure that we're doing these steps to get them on the right path. Resistance to touch. And this could be more of infants. Infants, they may push away with their arms and legs. They might cry when held or cuddled. They might even flinch or be startled when you touch them. So, their possible message could be, I'm overwhelmed. They're overstimulated. They don't want to be bothered at that time. And it's okay because babies sometimes get frustrated. They don't want to be touched. They just want to be left alone. And so we have to think of ways to help them and support them as well. And here are some that we can use to help them through that. Is using predictable routines. They love to have a routine. Daily routines, being consistent every day helps the child know what to expect next. Approaching calmly and speak softly when you're talking with infants. They love that. They enjoy interacting and cooing and using those sounds to express themselves. So talk to them calmly with that voice. And also watch the infant's cues and respect their responses. This is very important. Sometimes they tell us, even though they can't talk all of them all the time, they are showing you through cues that they don't want to, if you're feeding them and they turn their head, they might be done. That means it's time to put that food away, and maybe they're ready to go play. And so we have to look at those cues and notice that the child is is responding to what you should see, and watch those things of what they want and their needs, because they tell us throughout their bodies or their language. So we want to make sure that we are clear on their cues. Another great thing that we can do to help build a great program over trauma is creating safety. Barbara also emphasizes that children heal through safe relationships. They really want to have a relationship with you. They really want to build with you. So make sure that you're trying to promote, engage, and having a safe relationship. They need to feel that love, that feel safe and valued through connections. So, ways that we can create a safety place for them is make a predictable schedule throughout the day. Make sure it's fun. Make sure it's engaging. Make sure it's interacting with them. Visual schedules, place them around the room where children can see it and smile and point to the things that they know that they're going to be doing for the day. Be consistent. Consistent routines help your child grow and know what to expect each and every day. Our kids know every day that after breakfast, we're getting they get the free play for a little bit, and then we get to put the toys away, and then we're heading outside or in the inside playroom, and then once we come back, we washing our hands and we're sitting for snack. So they kind of know what to expect throughout the day and how it will turn out. So that's how we know that our children, we're creating that safety place for them. Also, warm greetings. Warm greetings are great for them. They love to be engaged to in the morning and when they're leaving in the afternoon. So continue to greet them throughout the day. Make sure we always keeping a calm voice when we're talking with them. They love it. Eye contact, get on their level. They really enjoy when we get on their level and play with them and communicate with them. So this helps a lot. Gentle touch is also great, giving them high fives, giving them hugs. They really appreciate that and they enjoy it as well. Clear expectations, set the point of what you're expecting them to do. Okay, guys, in 5 minutes, we're going to be cleaning up. Or, today's activity, we're going to be making painting, and you can use all different colors. So we want to make sure the expectations are clear of what we're going to be doing throughout the day. Children should know this. Who will care for me? Who will care for me? And they should feel that within you as a parent, as a caregiver, or a guardian. They should look to you for that. What happens next? Throughout the day, that routine we just talked about, making sure we're consistent that way that they know what to expect next in their time with you. And am I safe? They will feel safe, knowing that you're giving them hugs, you're appreciative, you're praising them, you're giving them feedback, you're communicating with them. They feel all of those things when we create a safe place for them. Even in the classroom environment, it should provide a safe, consistent, and nurturing environment where children can explore, learn, and build relationships for children affected with trauma. That's what they do. They want to have a safe place not even in a classroom environment where it just feels good for them. And here's some more examples that can create that safe environment for them. Is soft lighting. You know, children love that soft lighting. Quiet spaces in your classroom or in your home. Comfortable seating is very nice. Books is a great way to have a nice environment. Calming colors, sensory materials, and calming music are great ways to have in place in your classroom environment. That way your children can feel safe and we're being consistent and it's a nurturing environment where they can really learn and grow and develop. Also, we want to build relationships. You know, building relationships is great. You know, relationships heal trauma. Again, relationships heal trauma. And every interaction matters. You know, we want to make sure that we be consistent, spend positive one on one time with children. You know, they need that. And here's some ways that we can continue to spend that one on one time with them. Sit beside children during playtime. They love it. They love when we are near them at all times and interacting with them. Learn their interests. You know, it's always good to tell them what you want to do sometimes of having order in the class, but it's great to have them say, you know, free time and free play, and you allow them to express, hey, what do you want to do? Do you want to color? You know, you can give them options, but let them decide what is best for them. Celebrate small successes. You know, we need to give them praise for doing the small things in the classroom. Whether we give them a high five, we give them praise and feedback, whether we give them stickers, something that shows them appreciation for trying. And we want to celebrate that for sure. Also, notice effort instead of perfection. Oh, that's a good one. Notice efforts instead of perfection. And that's a good one because a lot of teachers or caregivers, when we're doing activities with our kids, we don't like to see that one thing out of place. So we're like, oh, let me move that. It's supposed to be here. That eye goes there. That nose goes over there. But we want to make sure that we are, you know, praising them for the efforts they did because we want them to do it themselves. That's how they learn and grow and develop if they learn to do things on their own. So, you know, notice efforts instead of perfection. And the more they do it, the better they get. You know, so the more that we allow the cat to explore how to play with hands-on experience, the better they will be at doing it on their own. Also, use encouragement. Instead of saying, good job, you know, say you worked really hard to finish that puzzle. You know, I'm proud of the way you handled that. So we don't want to make sure we use all the time, good job, but explain to them what did they do great and why are you proud of them. You know, children who experience trauma often expect rejection. So we don't want children to feel rejected, but we want to make them feel happy and encouraged by how we build on their relationship. And make sure as teachers be consistent because it teaches them trust. You know, so if we're consistent with the child, we will see that they will trust us. They will come to us and give hugs. They will come to us and start a conversation. They will want to play with you because they have built that trust with you and you don't want to break that. Another one is on self-regulation. Ways we can support. Well, teach children to identify their feelings. You know, we want to make sure children are identifying their feelings to you. Use calm down spaces. You know, make sure in your classrooms are in your homes, that you have a place where when they feeling upset, that they can go and just take that time to have an area where they can just calm down and get back ready to play again and redirect themselves to somewhere something else to do. Practice breathing exercises. That helps a lot with kids, take the time to teach them about those skills and they enjoy it. Also, read books about emotions. That really helps kids express themselves. They can see it more clearly through pictures. And if you're doing being consistent and bringing it up throughout the week, they will understand. I'm sad or I'm mad. And then those questions that we can say, well, why are you sad and why are you mad today? What can I do to make you feel better? So we want to make sure that we are helping them um, express themselves more with ways to help them calm down when they're feeling upset and frustrated. And these are ways that we can do to help them feel reassured that they are doing good and they will be okay. And they just need a time to take a break, which we all do at times. Another great way to help children as we continue talking is positive reinforcement. We definitely need to have positive reinforcement in the classrooms. This helps the children learn and work hard. So praise desired behaviors, use encouragement and recognition. They love to be encouraged. They love for you to push them to keep trying and help them as they're doing it. So they love that positive reinforcement. Offer classroom responsibilities. Help them feel important and independent by being a teacher's helper. Helping in the classroom and doing things. So give them jobs to do. They love it. They love to help. They love to be the line leader or the door closer or the turn off the lights switch person. So give them an opportunity to, be chosen to do things like that. That keeps good positive reinforcement in the classroom. And then build children's confidence and self-esteem. I always do that, like I said, with um, good feedback, praise when they're doing something right, and not always looking at the bad things they do, but praise them for the good things. Sometimes we forget about that. We're always quick to say, hey, stop doing that. You're not listening. But if we can say, wow, did you just help me pick up the toys today? Thank you. I'm so proud of you. So encourage them. Build their confidence that they will continue to do the good things that you want them to do. So that will be a great way to help them. Also, partnering with families is very important. We got to make sure that we are partnering with families at all times. So families are experts on their children. They're their first teachers. They learn from their parents before they learn from any caregiver, any other person in their life. So parents are the experts in their child's lives. So when we approach families with courtesy and not judgment, they will love it to work with you. They will work with you more if we're not coming to them in judgment of something that you think they should be working on with their child, but come with them with courtesy and kindness. So instead of saying Sophia had another difficult day at school, you might want to say, I noticed Sophia became upset during cleanup today. Have you noticed anything similar at home? That way you're explaining something that maybe won't come off as like, oh, again, she's just being bad, bad, bad. But it's saying, I'm curious to know what is her experience at home with you. And parents are open to talk to you about what is going on with their child when they know that you are talking to them without judgment. Also celebrate strength. We got to celebrate the children doing great things in the classroom. Share these things with the parents. Share positive moments daily. Parents don't always want to hear the negative, but let's make sure that we're sharing good things that they do. They helped clean up today. There was a great teacher's helper. They read a story to the class. Whatever it is that we are sharing with the parent, that their child did a great thing today. Um, and then build trust through regular communication. Don't just talk to them when they're bad, the child is bad, but also talk to them when the child is doing good. And just having regular conversations with the parents. How was your day? I hope you had a great day at work. And that makes them feel good that you're talking to them every day, not just to say something negative, but always encouraging them, and building that connection as you continue to be their child's teacher. Another one is called staff self care. And so, staff, parents, caregivers, we gotta make sure that we recognize our signs of stress and when we're feeling burnt out, So, we need to take time to and take breaks when we're feeling overwhelmed and feeling that we need a break because we're feeling exhausted, or irritable, or frustrated at times, feeling emotionally drained. It can happen to us. So we have to take time to take breaks, and not only take breaks, but seek support from colleagues. They might have the answers that you need. Maybe they had that child last year. Maybe they had a child that had that behavior before, and you come together in meetings and are one-on-ones and have to talk about how ways that they deal with the behaviors of a child that needs a little more attention. So sometimes support from our colleagues can be a great help to us as teachers and parents and caregivers. Also, reflect on accomplishments. You know, Little by little, appreciate the little things that you're doing to help yourself feel better in that classroom when we're feeling overwhelmed and overstimulated. Wow, today the kids did so good. I'm so proud of them all. Make sure that we write that down as an accomplishment, that all the kids were listening, that they all were doing what they were supposed to do, and take that small, simple accomplishment and continue to work on it. Write down ways and strategies that can help build your classroom for better, and you'll see the improvements when you observe your children and you write down what you can do to make them better students in your classroom. So reflect on yourself, observe how you are being a great teacher or leader, and make some changes. Also, you know um, in closing, children do not, and Barbara reminds us that children do not choose trauma. And that's really true. They don't want trauma. They don't want to be physically abused. They don't want to be neglected or abandoned. They don't want to feel any type of trauma in their lives. So they don't choose that, it's given to them. And the ways that we can do to help the children feel better is choose healing when they do choose healing when adults provide safety, consistency, and connections. So we really want to make sure that we provide those things to children so they believe in us, that they can trust in us, and be able to work on um, beating trauma and recovering from trauma and healing from those things. Every interaction can strengthen a child's resilience. Every interaction can strengthen the child's resilience. So we have to make sure that we know that when we interact with children every day, they're building resilience. They're building that self-esteem. They're building a chance to feel connected to you. So continue to build with their children, with the child, through interactions every day. And before we leave, ask yourself each day, did I help this child feel safe? Did I help this child feel seen? Did I strengthen our relationship? If the answer is yes, then you have helped this child heal by recognizing the signs of trauma. Thank you for your time. Thank you for listening to how this presentation of creating a trauma sensitive child care program. If you have any questions, I did any questions on what you have learned today. I also would like to hear from you. I think someone had something to say. Or anything you learned from the class that inspired you.
Well, I just want to say thank you for the teaching, and it was very good and interesting, hearing about trauma. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I like the way how you worded out different stuff and made different scenarios.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate that.
I like how you use different types of examples and use how like co-workers can help each other.
Yes. Thank you. I appreciate all you guys' feedback, and thank you for saying that you enjoyed the presentation this morning. And I would look forward to working with you if you have any other questions or any other questions or feedback that you would like to have. You always can reach me. Thank you.